Hello, trendsetters. Dr. Lena coming to you from Australia, but it may as well be Antarctica. It's like been hovering around 2 degrees centigrade. I can't remember what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's not much. It has been freezing. So enjoy your summer if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, this week, things have been happening. And Governor Abbott got booed in Texas. Yes. This is very interesting as a development. So go Beto, and let's hope that Texas is starting to move. Now, also, if you live in Texas, be prepared. You're going to have more grid failures. And you don't have to be a psychic to predict that. It's what's going to happen. And I think that's going to help put nails in the symbolic coffin of Abbott. So the whole grid has to be reinvented. You know, it has to be attached to other sources so you can get power in emergencies. But this issue is happening globally, intrepid viewers. Remember, back in the 80s when Reagan and Thatcher and everyone privatised everything, including energy, right? We all used to pay power bills to the government. And they said, no, we'll make it private. And you, the consumer, you're going to benefit. You're going to save so much money because it's going to be competitive. Business is good for you. Now, when was the last time your power bill went down? I'll just ask you. Yeah. Like never. So this has to change. It absolutely has to change. Okay, so Abbott got booed. Canada, brilliant. Eric Swalwell gave a totally smashing speech condemning Republicans and saying, are you on the side of the children or are you on the side of the killers? And I'm going to put that clip up. I'll pin it to the comments. It's a 5-minute speech and he does a great job. So that's good. But in other good news, Peter Navarro, acolyte of the Yeti, got arrested yesterday. He's already out on bail. You know, I hope they don't just fine these guys for not complying with subpoenas. It's got to translate into something that they feel. You know, not just money. But he was put in the same cell as John Hinckley Jr. Remember him? He was the one that had a pot shot at Reagan. How hilarious. So Navarro, we're going to look at his case here. I mean, he was the one, wrote the book, made himself the star, went on prime time everywhere saying, oh, I was a leading light of the insurrection. It was me. It was all down to me. And now he's horrified that he has to actually talk about that in a court of law. Well, either a court of law or in fact at the hearings or somewhere. He has to now backtrack or be charged with treason, one would hope. So let's see what is happening. Oh, sloppy shuffle. Peter Navarro, number 1. I think he gets the Moron of the Week award. I think he's out there. What's wrong with my shuffling? I know what it is. It's the cold. I can't feel my fingers. Ah. Navarro. All right. Okay. Illumination on his behavior. Right. Well, I think these are fairly dreary cards, intrepid viewers, and that would be appropriate because he is dreary. Ho-hum. Bang in the middle, though. He can't escape the daylight. He's been used to living like with these other vampires, you know, in the dark. That's where they live. And now the sun's absolutely going to shine on his doings and beings. underneath him, this is a woman who I think dragged him into this. This is a Queen of Cups. Sidney Powell. I think it's Sidney Powell. You know, that weird lawyer that went fully MAGA Trump maniac behavior. Remember her? I think this is Sidney Powell. She roped him into this. I'm sure of that. And she was the one, when she was hauled up for something, she said of her own talking points publicly, her defense was no one would believe them because they were so stupid. That was her defense. What can you say about these people? Okay, I'm going to put my money on Sidney Powell, talked him into it, and he will throw her in to the deep end of the pool. He's currently looking at his strategizing. This card's in the past when he was planning what was going to happen, including planning a coup, one could argue, and that's according to his own lips, right? The planning in defense of the emperor, Yeti, is now fully fledged, home to roost. Now he's going, oh, I didn't know it had come to this. He's so Elmer Fudd, you know. How am I going to get out of this is the only question he's got left. And the only way he can get out is either giving up her, or he might go all the way, but I don't think so. Let's just ask, will he give up Trump? I don't think so, but we'll see. Will he give up Trump? Will he give up Trump? King of Swords. Oh, and the Tower. Oh, oh. Well, I put those over the Emperor card because that is my Yeti card. The King of Swords, which is the DOJ and stuff coming on board. The Tower. Because see, Peter Navarro is one of those guys who's instantly forgettable, right? And when he had his 5 minutes of fame, you know, a month ago with the stupid book, you know, you see him, you hear him, and he just disappears out of your mind. And I think what's going to happen now, he's been subpoenaed and jailed, released, has to go to court again. No one is going to notice or care where he is. And I think he's going to find that really offensive. When the law comes after him, you know how sometimes it's the people you least expect? Now, I seriously didn't think he would dump the Yeti in it, but I'm looking at this and I have a bit of hope. Oh, oh, oh. All right. Now, the, what was that else on? Yeah, just bear with me, viewers, while I go through my notes here. Okay. Bannon. The beautifully groomed Steve Bannon. Right. Now, remember the We Build the Wall, and he and a couple of others ran off with the money, right? Typical. That got through court really quickly. He was sent to jail. It was a federal crime, but he got pardoned by you-know-who. However, New York is chasing him up on that. And the pardon doesn't extend to state crimes. So let's have a quick look. Does Bannon have anything to be worried about with this? And then we'll come back to the feds. Bannon. Bannon. Oh, look, he's weird. Now, he's an ex-Navy SEAL or something. And then I think he drank himself out of the services. Who am I to say? Allegedly, entertainment purposes only. But here's another one. Now, this comes back to Navarro and the others who don't comply with subpoenas. I think they should be issued with gag orders. Roger Stone got a gag order because he was saying and intimidating witnesses and, saying things. But these guys, if they're not given a gag order, he's been spending months free rabbiting on his hideous podcast. But people are starting to walk away from Bannon, right? These are people who fought together and no longer want to follow this guy. He's losing momentum, but he gets big cards here. His next 4 cards are all major arcana cards, so they matter. He gets the Fool. Now, he is not a stupid man, unlike most of the others who would have a combined IQ of 26. Bannon's one of the smarter ones, but he has allied himself with the forces of darkness for a long time, to the point where he's now doing stupid things. The Fool. This is the Moon, fudging everything. I think when you have a long-term addiction or dependency or whatever, it's out of control, it inevitably pushes you into a very hazy mental health space. I think this is why people are walking away from Bannon. And I'm talking oath keepers, proud boy type guys who think he's got something to say. I think there's an element of major mental health coming through here. Now, his card of challenge is the Strength card. He's always been, a type A, toxic, ultra masculine creature. But this card, Taming the Beast, with these other cards, he isn't taming his beast. So his inner beast is in fact unleashed. The Moon, the Fool. This is not taming anything. It's giving into his baser instincts, which is one of the readings of this card, right? He's got the Chariot. Things are going tickety-boo for him now, but I think his case comes up in July, and that's going to whip around. Once these hearings start as well, the public hearings in a few days, I might have to dig out my popcorn recipe. Things are going to accelerate, not just for Bannon, but for everyone. Right. Okie-dokie. Now, I wanted to say Georgia. The DA of Georgia, Willis, has issued 50 subpoenas, 50, and he's weighing up. This is on the voter fraud stuff in Georgia. What happened, what didn't happen with, those fraudulent electors and all that stuff. This case is really important because it's the home of our beloved Stacey Abrams. So it's really important. And he's thinking of pressing racketeering charges against the Yeti supporters who, said, just put fake people there, just put fake seals on the documents, just do everything fake, right? Interesting, he's thinking of racketeering. So let's have a look at that, Georgia, because hopefully this will come out before November. These racketeering charges. I think these are the perfect charges for so many of these people. Bring back the racketeering book. Okay, Georgia, DA Willis. These subpoenas. Oh, he gets big cards too, Willis. Okay, so he gets first up The hermit, he's playing his cards close to his chest, and that's perfectly appropriate. At the same time, he's got the lantern illuminating what has gone on in the darkness. I'm very pleased with this card for him. The Page of Wands. Now, this used to be my Obama card back in the day. The Page of Wands is a younger person. I don't think this is the actual DA. I suspect this is one of the younger people. If he's issuing 50 subpoenas, there's a lot of people who just went along with it at the time, went, yay, let's keep our president. This is great. And didn't think about anything. And I think it's one of them who's going to speak out here and seal the deal. And the deal, trust me, will be sealed because it's followed by the death card. Okay, so hopefully this is indicating the death of this sort of corruption that's always been lingering with redistricting, gerrymandering, voter suppression, all this stuff. It's not as though any of it's new, but it was taken to a new dimension after the Biden election. And if they don't kill it off now, America is in trouble. The USA needs this to happen in Georgia. Very important. And I have to think they've got a very good chance. The World card, this is the last card of a major arcana's wheel, right? The world is looking at this, not so much that everyone in Taiwan is watching what's happening in Georgia. I don't mean the world like that so much, but the whole of the USA will be watching this because Pennsylvania and other states have been impacted. And so this decision is very, very, very important. Okay, so now I want to look in on Garland himself, Garland the man. How's he feeling? Because he's got the biggest job, arguably, in the United States. He's got to get it right. He knows that. He'd be under massive, massive pressure. Oh, and other good news, Trump and DeSantis's law thing about don't say gay got struck down by the court, that it impinged on the First Amendment, the right to free speech. So, wow, it's been a good week, one way and another. Okay, but Garland, we all hope he's up to the job. And Glenn Kirshner, who's been our legal godfather during all these dramas, he's still holding a candle for Merrick Garland, saying, look, he hasn't given up hope, that this is the signs, the behind the scenes legal signs are positive. So I hope he's right. But let's look at Merrick Garland, the person. How's he feeling? How's he traveling? Oh, wow. Look, he's under a lot of pressure, a huge amount of pressure. I think as we speak, he's weighing up which way to go now, right now. I think he's at a particular juncture of this legal process, and he has to make the decision. And at the end of the day, even though other people are arguing about it, he has to fundamentally make this decision. I think my vibe on this is he's naturally cautious and thorough, but he also understands the pressure. If this isn't at least happening in the process of happening, when the midterms are on, it's too big a risk for the nation. So it has to go at a speed he's not comfortable with. And that causes him inner conflict. With the Five of Wands, it's people arguing with each other, but it's also often an indication of what's ping-ponging around in your brain. And I think it's this issue, the speed at which he goes ahead. Now, what is his foundation is the Ace of Pentacles. He understands aces are new things, and this is the first time anything like this has happened, at least since the early days of the Civil War and the early days of founding the Constitution and stuff. This is a hand of God. I don't think he's a day-to-day hyper-religious man, but I think he's literally praying over this. I really think he feels he has been called. And the Pentacles, we always think money, 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 but Pentacles are about your values, and his fundamental values is an old school American who believes in, truth, justice, and the American way, much like Superman. And of course, the GOP have departed from that entirely, but he still realizes it's in his hands and he has to get this right. So that's a lot of pressure. I think he's proud of his team. There haven't been leaks. They have truckloads of information already, and they've got more coming in. I think this is part of the dilemma. How do you divide it up? How do you process it? It's all very well for us from the couch to go, just do it, just do it. But legally, it's very hard. And he's having to call on, I'm doing this reading on the man, he's having to look very deep inside himself. Absolutely, really, really asking himself the deep and meaningful questions. He can't reveal yet quite what's happening. However, the outcome, ta-da! The absolutely luminous star card. He has to realize, right, even though he'd like to take his time and all of that, it's in his hands to actually save America in time. It's that big a deal. Oh, bless. I've been a bit cranky with Merrick Garland, but I actually feel a bit sorry for him after that. Oh, honey, just do your best, but do it now. Okay? Really? Trump did his bit. He gave them endless material to work with. Not his fault he's not in jail, right? It really isn't. He broke the law every morning, every afternoon, and every evening for 5 years, or in fact for 35 years. So it's up to someone else now to take it the next step. Yeah. So guys, thanks for your comments. I think I'm going to be on Hogarth again tomorrow night, Saturday night. I'm not quite sure of the time. Eastern Standard Time might be 7 p.m, but check Hogarth Astrology for that. And I've got lots of collabs coming up. So I just want to say again, what a privilege it is to do this work. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye for now.